Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Serena, and in today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit different and celebrate the new year. So happy new year. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining us today. Please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. For all of you lovelies who have been here all this time, thank you so much. Welcome back and Happy New Year again. So it's finally the new year. It's 2024. And here in the vintage community, we do not leave things in the past. Instead, we obsess about the things we love and we bring them forward. So in this video, I wanted to highlight or just pick a few things that I would like to carry into the new year from the past, the vintage past, mainly the mid-century, as opposed to saying the things that we should leave in 2023. This list will be made up of my own personal opinion, so you may not agree or want to bring these things forward, but I am interested in seeing what you guys are interested in, so please feel free to leave it in the comments below. I love to read them and communicate with you guys. So let's get into the video. The first thing on the list is going to be more dressmaker shops. I feel like fabric stores cater more towards quilters now than they do actual like garment makers. And then I know that there are some places where there's like garment districts, but those are usually in big populated cities. And I'm not saying that there needs to be just a ton of places to shop, but I feel like it'd be nice to have more than one option or more than two options. And having those options, like for instance, in my case, I have a local Joann's fabric store. And no shade to Joann's, or maybe just a little. But my thing with Joann's being the only option is one, it's mainly quilting cotton, which we love over here. I love all of the cool prints and the fun fabrics. But every once in a while, I do want to do like more serious projects, especially suits. I love working with making suits and coats and things like that. And the options are always very limited at Joann's, and they're mainly made out of synthetic fabrics. I feel like most of the apparel fabric at Joann's fabric and craft store is made up of synthetics, and that's just not my fave. And I know back in the day, they used to have more, like their fabric stores seem to have catered more to apparel, and then you can always still make like quilts with your scrap apparel fabric. So I just feel like I wish that there were more accessible fabric stores that cater to those who make garment. While we're on the topic of garments, I wish that there were more places that required a dress code, even if it wasn't the only way to enjoy their business. For instance, I wish that there were like some places where, or a multitude of places where maybe they have a special night a month or a week that was like black tie event or more formal. So that way people like us who do enjoy getting dressed up or making really pretty clothes have a place to gather, even if it's not a vintage exclusive function. I think that would be so cool because while I do dress up all the time to go out, I think it'd be really nice to be surrounded by others who enjoy dressing up too, even if it's not specifically vintage. Because, of course, you can dress up for vintage functions and go to things like Dapper Day and other like meeting places. But for people like me, or I feel like a good majority of people, that's a whole like travel expense. And it would be really nice to be able to just be like, hey, I want to go to a restaurant and I want to get all dressed up. I have had the pleasure to go on like a couple of dates with Mr. Serena for like our anniversary at like five-star restaurant. Even then, people wouldn't necessarily always dress up. And I know that's not something like I'm not one of those vintage dressers that feels like I wish everybody dressed like me. No, I just wish I had more events locally that I could dress up and meet other people who enjoy dressing up too. So I would absolutely adore that because I do feel like dress codes in general can be problematic and it could separate people who can't afford to dress up, or, like they can be completely problematic. So that's not what I would want. I wouldn't want there to be tons of establishments that had dress codes every single day of the week. But I think if it was like a special event or just something on the calendars for those who do like to get dressed up, I think it'd be really, really cool. Because I feel like even nowadays that weddings don't even require you to get dressed up. And so, like, you can't even really count on those anymore because a lot of times they're very much casual as well. So, I would love for there to be more places that had a formal or black tie requirement. And I mean, like, and to add to that, like I used to go before the kids, we used to go to the ballet and stuff a lot. And even then, people wouldn't necessarily dress up to go to shows. So I would just like more places to be dressed up formally. So that way I can go around and like see other people get super dressed up and see how people express themselves in a more fancy formal way. Next on the list, I would like for night sets and house coats to come back into fashion, and specifically the peignoir. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'll put it on the screen. But those sets, like those with the super finicky material that takes a lot of time and patience and are delicate to work with, I would like to be able to find those more frequently and easily and affordably in store. Do I like making them? Absolutely. But like sourcing the material can be part of an issue with making them. And I feel like if they're more readily available in stores, then the higher the chance that the materials and the fabric will be available in fabric stores alike. Because if it's trending in ready to wear, then the materials are usually more available in fabric stores. So I would love for those like cute, really baby doll nylons to come back. I would love it. And I feel like a lot of people who do not sew in the vintage community, or people who are new to the vintage community, would appreciate it, because when you buy them true vintage, they can be kind of expensive. And then there's the thing where like smoking was very popular back then. So a lot of times when you find them true vintage, they also come with a very strong odor of nicotine that's hard to get out, or they're yellowed, or anything like that. So I wish that those were readily available and would come back now, because I feel like even modern dressers would love them. Next on the list is convertible furniture or multi-purpose convertible furniture. I feel like in modern times, whenever this is available, it's for like a van life person or a tiny home person. And I appreciate how back in the day that they had these things available for people in a regular home. I feel like just because I have the space doesn't mean I want to use it up with every single piece of furniture that I have. So I really appreciate that I have my vintage sewing machines that come in those like convertible desks. There were so many convertible things back in the day. Like you could have one of those like Murphy styled ironing boards to bounce off of that, built-ins. I love built-ins. I featured my Newtone Food Center built-in like blender system over on my shorts here on YouTube. I love working with it. I love that it's flush with my counter. I love being able to quickly pop in the accessory or the attachment that I need and use it for whatever I need it for, and then just have to store the attachments and not the entire um, center. Built-ins were really popular back then. I wish they would come back. I do feel like to some degree people don't really stay in their homes for very long, so that could be like the setback for having built-ins. But like for the new tone, you could have gotten the food center, or like I think it's called the Maid, which was like basically a standalone base that you could use all the same accessories and set on top of the attachment itself. So I just wish there were more built-ins. I wish those would come back because they were really nice. I like that, I guess in modern terms, you could say that the intercoms that used to come with a lot of old houses could be replaced with like smart home type things. Those are really cool. And so, yeah, bring those back. And then one thing that I really, really wish would come back, or at least become more popular so that way like it could regenerate itself, appliance repair places. I feel like as a society, we can be so wasteful. And I am very fortunate to have Mr. SewRena, where he maintains all of our appliances, our sewing machines, things like that. That's why we tend to shop vintage, because they can always be fixed and repaired, as opposed to having to get stuff that's modern that requires us to constantly have to replace them. I would prefer to just get something that I truly love, which is why I choose vintage, because the styles are really pretty as well as the function. Choosing a piece that I really love and then maintaining it for the life of the piece or me. I wish that more people had that accessible to them, because I don't expect everyone to have someone who likes to tinker. And so if there were still appliance repair shops, then more people could participate in vintage, or just keep the things that they love. Even with the modern things that I own, once I love something, I buy what I love. So if it's modern and it stops working, then I'm usually really upset or sad to have to let it go anyway. So that's why I truly made the switch to vintage appliances, because once I fell in love, I do want to keep it as long as possible. And I don't like the idea of having to get rid of it. So I don't like falling in love with modern pieces that I won't be able to fix. Next on the list is for Mica Countertops. These are still available, but not super readily available. And I love all of the cool prints and colors and things like that that you could get, and all of like the aluminum or metal stainless trim that you could get around it. They are so pretty to me. It would be perfect if I could just grab some from my local home improvement store and just sign up to get them like you would marble or granite countertops. But unfortunately, you have to do a whole bunch of special ordering and stuff like that to be able to get them in your home. I would like to do it one day, and I wish they were just more readily available. I feel like if mid-century modern comes back into fashion, which I feel like bits and pieces of it comes in and out of fashion, but why can't the countertops come back? Why? Pretty sure there's more. Most of the time when I think of these things, it's in the moment when I'm searching for something for a project and I'm like, gosh, I wish they would bring this back so it didn't cost so much. I also feel like once things become popular again, then it makes it so it's so accessible that they're more affordable. I would love to know what you guys would like to bring back to 2024. This is my list. I could probably go on forever, but I wanted to kind of ease back in to content creation after taking a bit of a break. And so I wanted to share some of these with you, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be coming up with either a haul video next or a sewing video, because I did spend 2 weeks in Guyana with my family for Christmas, and I bought some fabric back with me. I spent all last year sewing through my stash so that way I could make room for projects that I truly wanted to do, like more suits. And now that I'm more experienced, for fabrics that I know I would get more use out of, I kind of went on like a restocking spree when Stephanie Canada purchased the vintage dressmaking store. And then I bought a ton of fabrics from her. And then I also got some fabrics in Guyana. So I'd love to share whatever I've gotten recently with you guys. And then we'll get back into our regular sewing videos. Thank you guys so much. I know this one was kind of chatty, but I really appreciate it. If you would like to support this channel, go ahead and like this video. Subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to support me any further, you can leave me a virtual tip over on Ko-fi or become a bobbin over on Patreon. All the links will be below. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Happy New Year. Bye.